say are the do's and don'ts of setting up a home office for coaching?
Wow. Okay. So, my goodness. A lot. A lot. I think I've had a lot of different iterations of it. I think the most useful thing, if I were to boil it down, is this: is to try to create little rituals or separation between home office work time and home away from work time. And for many years, I developed a really strong rule around when I'm home, I don't talk about stressors from office stuff happening. And I purposely kept them separate. That's hard to do. And sometimes I just needed to download stuff to a Moise sometimes, and then we work through whatever ideas I needed to work through. And what we developed is because she's also a trained coach, sort of a code for, all right, I need a business chat. I need to process this right now, and that was really useful. And then when she would at times get more involved in different projects, we had to rework that design, because then she would bring stuff up, and then I was thinking, well, this is home stuff, home time, business time. And then I'd bring stuff up. It'd be home time, business time. And then it was like, okay, so what are we really doing here? And I think there's this idea that we're trying to create home life balance, but really we're after home life integration. Like, we're after, how do you integrate those ideas? Because I have really great ideas that happen during home time. And we're like, well, is home time, am I not allowed to have these great ideas for business time? Or vice versa. Like, you have great ideas for home time during business time. So I think that there's a mindfulness around creating designed alliances and close relationships, and then we would have certain words too that meant, okay, I'm finished with the business chat now, we need to go to home chat. But it was all designed, and it was all coded, and it was lovely, and it just really helped with our communication. And we with that design of that balance, and to have it so finely tuned was a huge asset, and something we needed to have happen in order to make this successful. Home office wise, I think from that there's a design around that too, like when I'm on meetings, when I'm available, not available, and then the other thing would be around clothing. Having I would have certain office clothing, and no sweatpants. Don't do that. Even Zoom calls, I know it's tempting, don't do it. Slippers are cool, but not sweatpants. Don't put a window behind you. Drink water. Have a tea station right next to your computer. Have plants. Make sure they're water, or else they'll scream at you for water. You don't do that. I feel like there's a lot of make it nice. Make it nice, and dress like you would go show up. I usually wear a jacket if it's business time. Usually don't if it's not. So that's one of my markers. And I consciously make the transition. I can get into that. I can go more into it. But I was thinking about making a video of it, actually. Like, I don't know. Anyway, Raj, those are my thoughts. I'd love to hear yours as well. I mean, we talked about this a couple of times. I feel like I learned something new every time you describe your systems.
Likewise, John. Yeah, I agree with all of those things. I really like the way you started with this importance of integration, yet you've got to have what works for you at home. And my husband and I as well, sometimes we might even, it's a bit like using the clearing tool. My husband has a lot of stress with his work, and sometimes he just wants to let off steam, or might be coming across that he's angry or whatever. And we just have a set time. It's like, we're going to talk about this for this long, or let's let it out. And then there's certain times, weekends, we're not going to be talking about things. So we've got those systems and boundaries. I think it's really important. I also think, as you're saying, it's really important to create that space. Now, you may or may not have the luxury in your home to have a whole separate room for your office. If you do, that's a great blessing. But I think even if you haven't, how can you even buy something in a space that's going to create that divide? You can get those things where you can put it there and you can pull it back, whatever it is that it's going to look like. For me, I know I actually have a sign on my door, so my husband would know. It's like, do not disturb. I took it from a hotel, but it's like, do not disturb. He knows that I'm on a call like this, for example, or I'm recording something, or I'm training, or whatever that is. And likewise for him, so we're creating that privacy. And then I think it's those other things around, it's just sacred space, isn't it? I have things around me that, this is a great visual because I'm a professional, I'm on exec calls, it looks nice behind me, but it's all the things that I love in front of me as well. I've got motivational quotes and my plants and inspiring things, and I'm spending a lot of time in here, and I want it to feel good. So what's going to feel good? I don't want it to be all cluttered. For me, if my space is cluttered, my mind is cluttered. Everyone's different, but that's just how it works for me. And your comment on, don't wear jogging pants or whatever. I have worn my Mickey Mouse pajama bottoms before now on a call. And luckily it wasn't that day that I was asked to stand up on a call. We were asked to stand up on a call and spin around. And I thought, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that again. I'm not going to wear those. But I think the message in here is, yeah, you want to be comfortable, but also wouldn't recommend being too relaxed. I have seen recordings and coaching before now of people in bed even. And I think you've got to think about, how does that make you feel? I know I feel a bit sloppy. I'm not on my A game if I'm lounging around too much. So you've got to think about what works. And at the end of the day, we are offering a service to people, aren't we?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I have lots of rules around. I don't get super dressed, but I do wear jeans. Like, that's like minimum.
Yeah, don't get caught out on a call when you have to stand up.
Gosh, and it does matter. I did this thing once where for a 2-week period, I've done lots of experiments in this training. For a 2-week period, I wore t-shirts on all the calls I was leading. This is back in 2015, 2016. And at the end of those 2 weeks, I was utterly exhausted. And it was really striking how much more energy I had to use in order to hold the respect and hold the space in the class than when I wore a jacket. And it was palpable. I could completely tell the difference. And then when I switched back to wearing a jacket, it just was easier. And I think that's similar too when people show up and they have a professional look to it. There is an unconscious bias that's happening. It's silly to think that it's not, and it's helpful to understand and to use it, to your advantage. It doesn't mean you have to wear a tie. That might be too much, but at least a collared shirt and a jacket.
Yeah, it represents you, doesn't it? It's part of your brand. For me, this is part of my brand and how I'm representing myself. Not to mention, I work completely virtually, and I've got all these wonderful clothes that I would never wear otherwise. That would be a shame.
It's gotta be webinar ready.
Webinar ready.
It doesn't matter what you smell like. It's cool. It's useful.
Yeah, you can't smell us through camera yet. Maybe in the future.
Designing that one.